Let's be honest, you can't talk about the AI boom without talking about Nvidia. It's just impossible. This one company has somehow put itself at the absolute dead center of this global transformation. They've become the essential engine for what, let's face it, a lot of people are calling a new industrial revolution.
And when I say essential, I mean it. We're talking about a company with a market valuation dancing around $4.5 trillion. Just to put that into perspective for you, that is bigger than the entire economy of most countries on Earth. It's a staggering number.
So that valuation, it just begs the question, doesn't it? How on earth did a company that most of us knew for making graphics cards for video games become the single most indispensable part of the entire AI revolution? Well, that is exactly what we're going to unpack here. So here's the plan. We'll start with their role as this AI juggernaut. Then we'll dive into the core tech that really changed the game. After that, we'll follow the money, look at the bottom line, explore the culture that's driving all of this innovation, and wrap it all up with their huge vision for the future, building the AI factory. Okay, first things first, we have to understand what Nvidia is today. See, they're not just a part of one story. They are literally enabling two massive tech shifts at the exact same time: accelerated computing and generative AI. And believe me, these things aren't just changing Silicon Valley. They're set to transform pretty much every industry you can think of. So the big question is, how did they pull this off? Well, their whole success story really starts with them solving a huge, fundamental problem in computing. For decades, the entire industry just coasted on this predictable, steady improvement until one day it just stopped. Nvidia's own CEO, Jensen Huang, he called it years ago. He stood up and said Moore's law is dead. Now, that was a huge statement. Moore's law was this golden rule that computing power would basically double every couple of years. When that engine just sputtered out for traditional CPUs, it left this massive vacuum and, well, an absolutely incredible opportunity. And this right here was Nvidia's answer: accelerated computing. You see, instead of just trying to make one general-purpose chip a little bit faster, they took a totally different approach, a full-stack approach. It combines these specialized processors, like GPUs, with their own custom software and algorithms. The whole thing is designed to work together to just turbocharge really complex stuff, like AI. And the result of this strategy? It's just staggering. While the old-school CPU performance was basically flatlining, Nvidia's platform, which really kicked into high gear with their CUDA programming model back in 2006, has delivered a 1 million-fold increase in performance for AI. I mean, think about that. That's not a small step. That's a complete paradigm shift. Okay, a 1,000,000x performance leap is incredible, for sure. But what does that actually look like on a balance sheet? Let's follow the money, because this is where that tech dominance turns into just raw financial firepower. Get this. In one single recent quarter, Nvidia pulled in revenues of $57.01 billion. That's not for a year. That's for just 3 months. And to really put that number into context, that represents a 62.5% jump from the same quarter just 1 year earlier. This isn't just steady growth, folks. This is explosive. It's being driven by what seems to be a bottomless appetite for their AI chips. And it does not look like it's slowing down. The CEO, Jensen Huang, has said that the company has a mind-boggling $500 billion in combined orders lined up for 2025 and 2026. That's a huge signal that the market thinks this hyper-growth is here to stay. Now, all this crazy performance has led to this sky-high valuation, and that, understandably, makes some investors a little nervous. Its price-to-sales ratio is sitting at 28, while the median for the sector is just 3. So the big question is it a bubble? Well, here's the other side of that coin. Here's why people are willing to pay that premium. Wall Street is projecting Nvidia's forward revenue growth at 68%, and the sector median? A measly 8%. So investors are basically paying for a company that's growing at a pace that nobody else can even touch. But a company isn't just about its chips and its balance sheets. That only tells part of the story. Who are the actual people making all of this happen? Let's take a look at the culture that's fueling all this innovation. It's not just them saying they have a great culture either. They get consistent recognition from the outside. They've been on Bloomberg's Gender Equality Index, and for 7 years in a row, they've scored a perfect 100% on the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index.
And if you look inside the company, the numbers are just as impressive. According to surveys, a whopping 95% of their employees say it's a great place to work, and 97%, almost everybody, are proud to tell people that's where they work. So what's guiding all this? It comes down to a really clear set of core values. Sure, they have the ones you'd expect, like innovation and speed, but they also focus on things like intellectual honesty, seeking the truth, learning from your screw-ups, and one team, which is all about putting the company first. This is the kind of bedrock that lets you make those huge long-term bets that ended up making them a leader. And you can see the payoff right here in the data. Nvidia's employee turnover rate is just 4.9%. The industry average is nearly 3 times higher than that. So in a field where talent is everything, they are hanging on to their best people.
Okay, so you've got the tech, you've got the money, you've got the people. Where is all of this going? What's the end game? Well, it's all building towards this one massive vision, what they call the AI factory. This right here is the key to their future. They envision this whole new kind of data center. It doesn't just store your data, it actively processes it or finds it into AI models and spits out what they call digital intelligence tokens. So if data is the new raw material, these AI factories are what turn it into a super valuable finished product.
And the scale here is, well, it's global. Don't think for a second this is just about tech companies. These AI factories are for tackling humanity's biggest challenges. We're talking everything from climate science to discovering new drugs to even helping entire countries build what's called sovereign AI, letting them turn their own unique data into a strategic national resource. Which really just leaves us with one final massive question. For the last century, the flow of oil has shaped, well, everything. Geopolitics, economies, our whole society. So if data really is the new oil, are these AI factories, powered by Nvidia, about to reshape our world in ways we're only just beginning to imagine?